Well, hello everyone. Once again, another episode of From There to Here. I'm your host, Lawrence Temple. And today I'm talking to someone I knew from once upon a time. She was a student when I worked at our high school in the past. This is Emma Oliver. And she's going to talk about her journey. She's working internationally currently. And we're just going to talk about her path. And so maybe you can see some reflection in your own past about how your borders can be expanded way beyond what you might have thought of once upon a time. So, Emma, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It is great to talk to you and see you again.
I know you as well.
Are you familiar with the term elevator speech? Have you heard that term before?
So I'm going to be honest. I did some studying up, and yes, I know it. I know it.
Look
But
at
it's
you.
just because I'm a good student. Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
exactly. I no criticism, no judgment.
Yeah.
Well
So
done.
I work in PR, and I guess it's an equivalent to a boilerplate, which is like a summarization of an organization or so whatever you're writing your press release on. Okay.
I like that.
So yeah, so I'll give you my boilerplate elevator speech, whatever you want to call it.
Got it.
Do you want to explain it to your viewers? I don't know how it
Oh,
works.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to take over here.
No, no, no.
Please.
You did your research clearly. So
Yeah.
everybody, elevator speech is imagine you're stepping on an elevator and you're only with whoever's on the elevator for a few seconds. And if you had to explain or boil down who you are in those few seconds, that would be your elevator speech. So Emma, what would be your elevator speech if you had to tell someone who you were or what you were about, what would you say?
Okay. I got a lot to say, but because we're in the elevator, I'm going to keep it short.
Take your time.
I am a Floridian, born and raised, but decided to move across the globe to essentially find myself. And then I did find myself,
Wow.
thank God. And every day of the journey is a learning experience. And it's not always an uphill journey. Sometimes you're going to go downhill, and you got to embrace every single second of it, and enjoy life and find passion in every single thing. And that's how I try to live my life. It's not all rainbows and butterflies, but you got to find the beauty in even the darkness. And yeah, that's what I do every day. Yeah.
I love that. And about every other sentence you said is a different direction that I could go. Uh, so let's do that. How similar is what you do every day now to what you imagined your life would be like, let's say when you were in the middle of high school? How similar is it, or is it similar at all?
Um, Maybe it's what I wanted my life to be a bit. When I was in high school, as you know, I was going through a lot, and I didn't have much hope. I didn't really see that light at the end of the tunnel when I was in high school. So I didn't really know where I was going. If
Okay.
you asked me back then where I would be today, I would be totally shocked. I would have no idea that you
Okay.
would tell me this. Um, so yeah, I think it's totally different, to be honest. I never saw this coming.
Okay. I would say the majority of people I talk to here, their current reality is very different than what they thought once upon a time.
Even from a year ago, it always is changing. Uh, But
Now,
yeah.
now, a lot of people. I was just talking because I'm slightly older than you, and I was talking about the difference in generations, and it seemed like people of an older generation were more content to stay in one job, location, situation, years at a time, whereas people who are younger tend to be more open to make a change. So my question is, going back, what led you to have I guess, the boldness to travel the world and to seek out change? What got you to the point of saying I need to do something different?
Um, you know, I never really thought I could do this ever. Like get on a plane by myself and travel, you know, 13 hours on a plane and live away from every single person that I know. Um, I think it is different from other generations. And not to say that the contentness is different, because you do find that wherever you end up. Um, but for me, I think I just had a lot happen to me in my life
Okay.
that, and a lot of people telling me, you won't be able to do that. You can't do that. We
Hmm.
don't see that you're able to do this.
Okay.
Um, and I kind of took that like, you know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to do it. And if I find that when I try and I fail, okay, I learned, but I tried and I succeeded. Um, yeah, I think you just got to try to find it. You don't have to per se have that boldness. You
Yeah.
just got to try and then see where it takes you.
And what you just said maybe halfway answered my next question, which is some people, when they're told you can't, it beats them down and they don't. Others who get told the same thing, it makes them more bold to prove them wrong. Or looking back, why did you take the route of prove them wrong as opposed to taking in what they said and just letting yourself be beaten down? What made you take that option, or do you even know?
I think I did get beaten down a bit. Um, I got beaten down many of times in my
Okay.
life, I would say, and I got back up. After in high school, I got beaten down,
Okay.
and I found myself getting back up. Mid college, I got beaten down, and I was like, I can't let this happen again. I can't, I can't go through it again. And sometimes it does take getting beaten down to just say, you know what, you can do this. Fake it till you make it. Look at yourself in the mirror
Hmm.
without anyone listening to you,
Okay.
and just say, you can do this. You can do this. You don't even have to believe yourself at first, but you will believe yourself at some point, and then you'll get there.
Now, see, this is so multi-layered, interesting to me because I recall when you were a student, you were a good student, right? You had, as I recall, good grades. You were involved in, I believe, softball and some things at school. So outwardly, someone would look at you and think, she must be confident. She must believe she can do anything because she's outwardly doing well. So, can you tell me what was that difference between the outwardly successful person we saw versus however you struggled or saw it yourself internally? What was that, those two things that don't seem to add up? If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think in school, a lot of people don't fully know what's going on at home or things like this. Um, and for me, it was two different worlds until they started to like mesh together.
Okay.
So the things at home were starting to affect me in school. And you're right, I was a good student for most of the time.
Okay.
And then those, the personal things started to get to mesh with the school and education. And then I remember getting my interim report. Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's what
wow.
it's called. I forgot what it's called.
Yikes.
And I remember seeing a D, and it was like a knife went through my heart. And I remember one of my favorite teachers, my theater teacher, he like took me aside, and this is not a class that you get a D in, okay?
Okay.
He took me aside, but he saw that I got a D in one of my other classes, and he asked me what's going on. Like this is not like you. And then I decided to confide in my superiors. Sometimes, students or teenagers look at the superiors as these like, no, I don't want to talk to you. You're not going to help me.
Yeah.
It's so wrong. It's so far from the truth. If you find that at home you don't have that person to talk to,
Okay.
speak to somebody. And then, maybe they'll be able to help you, maybe not. But there is going to be at least one person, I hope, that will be there to talk to you. And it's not always easy, keeping that outward coolness, I'll
Yeah.
say. You're not always going to be put together. There
Okay.
was many of times where I rushed out of classes and was hysterical because again, those things started to mesh.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, you did. You
yeah,
definitely did. I think it's
yeah,
important for uh, people to know, particularly younger people, to know that you're not going to have it all together, and you don't always know who that person's going to be that can help you.
yeah. And I'm 26 now, just turned 26.
Okay.
Um, and I still don't have it all together. You know, I uh, I live in a country where English is not the first language, and I am
Okay.
still barely speaking the language of this
Okay.
country. Um, there are still a lot of personal things in my life that continue to happen. There are, you know, political things in the world that affect everyone.
Right.
And you're not always going to have it together, all together. And that's totally okay. Totally okay. But as long as you find that peace that keeps you going, hold on to it. Hold on to it.
One of the biggest things you've said already in this short time is the fact that you're not going to have it all together. Because I do think people who feel like they're struggling or whatever, they feel like the other people over there, they have it all figured out, and I'm the only one who doesn't. I think that's so important that you let us know you don't have it all figured out, but you can still be making progress and
Yeah.
doing well.
Especially with social media these days,
Oh,
and
talk about it.
everything.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there are many times where you are on that phone or the computer and you're looking and you're like, why do I not have this? Why do I not look like that person? Why do I not have that job that
Yes.
that person had? What I recommend to people, because this is what I've actually done in my life,
Yeah.
either put the phone away for some time, just even if it's a few hours in a day, put the phone away and just like really take in real life and remind yourself that everyone is a human being
Okay.
and everyone has real life experiences, and the phone and social media is not everything that you're going to see. And also another suggestion, even though it's a bit weird, but I definitely recommend it, try to curate your algorithm for yourself.
Hmm.
If you see someone who you like don't see yourself relating to, maybe stay away from that profile. Or if you aspire to be like someone and it's in like a realistic mindset
Yeah.
or set of goals, follow that person, learn from them, or have people that might look a bit more like you
Hmm.
on your feed if it makes you feel better. This is more geared towards women because it's a bit tricky out there.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, just like how in the real world you surround yourself with people that you know want to be like, do it
Yep.
on the phone also. You're able to do it.
I
That's
love that. I love how you phrased it. That's a great idea. That is a
yeah,
I love. All right, that's a great idea. Whether someone's 15 or 75, they need that.
right, right.
Well, how about talk to us some about your adventures, can about your professional life? What is it that you do, and how did you get into doing what you do for a living?
Okay, this is an interesting question because I've kind of done a lot of things, I guess you could say,
Okay.
in a short span of time. Um, so, like I said, I moved over um, to a foreign country, and I started my work in journalism. So I was working at an international news channel. I
Okay.
got my degree in like mass communications
Okay.
and political science from University of South Florida. Go Bulls! But so I got my degree. Shortly after college is when I moved abroad.
Wow.
So I started my career in journalism at an international news channel. And I thought I was gonna be on TV right away. I thought I was gonna get stories out there right away. Not to say that you can't do that.
Okay.
But at the channel, someone came up to me and said, "Who wants to be a booker?" And what a booker is essentially a guest producer. You're
Okay.
the one reaching out to people and finding people that would be a good fit for an interview. Okay.
Okay.
So if it's talking about uh, like Iran politics, like the threat of Iran, I would find Iran experts, people who
Ah,
have studied Iran and studied conflicts around Iran. So essentially, what I like to call it, I was a professional stalker a bit.
okay.
Um, I would read up on people, figure out what they're experts in, and I would somehow find their phone numbers.
Wow.
Um, and I would contact them and get them on TV.
Wow.
Um, so that's kind of how I started there. I did that for about 2 years. And I was working there through a few wars. So I was actually like pretty fresh when the Ukraine Russia war broke out.
Okay.
And I just remember that I was like the only one at work that, like in the morning. And all of a sudden, we got the news that the war broke out. And immediately, the managers were like, we need you to find contacts in Ukraine and Russia. And I'm
Mm,
like, I'm a girl from a small town in Florida. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
yeah.
You somehow do it. And I had a lot of challenges that was so, there was a lot of adrenaline rushes. And it was honestly so much more fulfilling than going on TV from the
Okay.
very start. And my Rolodex, for people who don't know what a Rolodex is, my my list of contacts
Yeah.
is up to like 15,000 people in my
Okay.
phone. Um, and these are like diplomats and politicians and experts, crazy things.
Yeah.
Um, but that's like another way of just like telling yourself like you can totally do it, like no matter what the challenge is. So I was doing that for a little bit, and then eventually my managers needed someone to go on TV to talk about Middle Eastern politics. And I was like, okay, this is like a passion of mine. I like reading up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Super interested in these types of politics. And I told them, I went up to them and I said, listen, in college, I was on a local TV news channel, like
Mm,
doing projects for them. I can do this. Like, trust me. And they said, okay, let's do a test on air
okay.
and let's see if you can do it. Fast forward, I ended up getting a segment twice a week on two different shows on the international channel
Okay.
to talk about different things, Middle Eastern culture, uh, sometimes American politics, because I was the American at the news channel,
Yeah.
things like this. So I was doing that for a while, for like I said, 2.5 years I was working there. And then I just decided I think I'm gonna switch it up. And I was young and I was like, I got an offer from someone that I knew to go into sales.
Mm,
And I was like, the money sounds great. I'm doing this. I ended up quitting the job at the news channel,
mhm.
went into sales for about 3 months.
Okay.
Um, it was great money, but was the passion there?
Okay.
Not so much. Not so much.
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, um, I hate to say blessing in disguise, but kind of like you have to look at these things like this. Another conflict broke out in the region that I'm in. And I got a call from that same news channel that I was working at.
Okay.
And they said, we really need help over here. We need you to come back. And I was like, I'm there. And the next day, I was at the news channel um, and working 24 hours a day,
Okay.
nonstop. I mean, really only sleeping like 2 hours and then going back to work.
Okay.
Um, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Like horrible things because news is news and news can be really bad.
Okay.
But if you have that passion, it's gonna drive you.
Okay.
Um, and then about like 6 months ago, I would say. Um, I got another offer from someone else to actually go into PR. Um, and I knew that I wasn't staying at the news channel forever.
Okay.
It was just like an intermediate thing. And got this opportunity to go into PR at a hospital and work for like a peace organization at the hospital,
Okay.
um, bringing people together to teach them different trauma courses. Um, and in this region that I'm in, there's unfortunately, a lot of trauma cases due to like war and things like this. So I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to go for it. Ended up saying goodbye for the second time to the news channel, and ended up starting to work at this hospital. Again, the language that they speak is not my first language,
Okay.
and I barely speak the language, but we're making it through. And
Uh,
I started working in PR, and I really, really loved it. I really enjoyed it. It was it was healthy for me to get out of the negative of the news
okay.
and go into something where I really, really felt that I was helping people. Because in the beginning, when I started working in journalism, this is what I thought that I could do in journalism:
Okay.
help people, bring the stories to them. And then when I got this offer to really be hands on with helping people, I said, let's do this. So did that. Unfortunately, I don't know like how much we'll get into politics, but it was like funded by like an American federal program. Uh, Politics happened,
Right.
and it was dismantled.
Okay.
So our funding was stopped, and then I was back at square one, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Um, I just looked online, saw a PR job for another nonprofit, and I was like, I'm going to do it. Let's apply. Let's
Wow.
see what we can do. Did it, got a call back. When I tell you this was probably the most rigorous like job application, it was
Okay.
an application and a writing test and an interview, then another interview, then an interview with the founder, and then another writing test. It was like a lot of things.
Okay.
But every time, every step, they're like, okay, you moved on to the next round. And I'm like, yeah, let's get to the next round.
Okay.
So I've been there for about 3 months now, and I'm absolutely loving it. Um, yeah, I really like the nonprofit sphere. I'm not saying it's always the most secure, but
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I am getting opportunities to write so many stories and shine light on people. So I write a lot of like people stories,
Yeah.
which is great. Uh, my advice to anyone that's in journalism and you're finding that it's a lot of negativity,
Yeah.
if you do want some positivity, go into PR. It's great. um,
Yeah. That would
but
make
yeah,
sense.
that's kind of where I'm at. It was like a whole whirlwind. Yeah, I know it was a mouthful. You should see my resume.
Wow. Yeah. I bet it's super thick and long. And
Yeah, yeah.
well, wait. There's a phrase I kept hearing some random person in their head while listening to you talk, and the phrase I could hear them say was, "I could never." Like you're doing a lot of things that the average person doesn't get to do, dealing with war situations, leaving home, changing jobs, being on TV, and so for the person who, when they hear a new thing, their first response is to say, "I could never." What would be your advice or your input to that person who always feels like new things are so beyond them? Because obviously you've done a lot of new things. What would you say to Mr. or Miss I could never?
I would say I also thought I could never, but you can. Um, that's life. Sometimes it's unfortunate. Sometimes it's extremely fortunate.
Okay.
Um, and that's just kind of the way it is. And I will say that I am extremely fortunate to know people that I know. Um, but I didn't know these people. Again, I came to a place all by myself
Yeah.
with a few bags packed. So just because I know these people now doesn't mean I knew them back then.
Okay.
So these people that are saying that they could never, you really, really can. And you really, really should surround yourself with good people. And for the people that are shy, try, challenge yourself,
Hmm.
get out of your comfort zone just a little bit,
Wow.
just like a tad. If you're talk to a new person, one time a week. That's what I'll say.
Hmm.
You never know what opportunities will arise with the next person you meet. That's that's a key takeaway for me.
That's very big. That is very big. I know people personally who could use that advice, and I think people get so locked into thinking they know who they are, so they think I can't do this because I'm a that, and you're living proof that you really don't know that until you push some boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 17, like I was at the lowest point of my life. And I really, really was tired of everything. And I was, again, really, really sad. And, you know, you just got to keep going. Um, and if you need help, go get help. If you need that person to lean on, find that good person to lean on that will bring you back up. That's the key
Okay.
there. Um, yeah,
How I have so many questions because literally
absolutely.
every other sentence you're saying is like opening a door to another direction.
Yeah.
As best you can you describe what was your lowest or one of your lowest points? What did that look like? What would somebody see if they saw you? Or how did you, what was your low, describe the lowest point and what was the path to start coming out of that dungeon?
I would say it probably had two very low points. Maybe three. Maybe three. I don't know. We're gonna go with two.
Okay.
Um, I don't know how much you want me to dive into this. I'm super comfortable with it.
I guess what you're comfortable with is what I'll be comfortable with, I guess.
Okay. Um, you know this, I think. When I was 17, when I was 17, I was going through a lot. Um, Dealing with like mental health issues in my family. And then unfortunately, everything just became a little bit too much for my mental plate, I would say. Um, and I didn't want to see tomorrow. I'm going to put it that way.
Right, right.
Um, and it took me getting to that very, very low point to realize that tomorrow could be the best day of your life. Um, and I got help. It wasn't, I just woke up all of a sudden and I was fine. You know, I did get help, and everybody should not be ashamed of that. If you need that help, go get it, um, and don't run away from the help.
Mm.
Don't run away from yourself. I'll say. Um, and then that happened, and I said, okay, I'm graduating. Like I had that step in front of me that I needed to make it. And because of my situation, like I actually ended up going to community college. I missed my SATs because I was in a really bad like mental state.
Okay.
And I couldn't get myself to go take that test. And my biggest piece of advice, going to community college is totally okay. It's totally okay. You do not need to go to a 4-year university right away,
Yeah.
despite what society will tell you and what your friends are doing. It's okay. You'll make it there. Um, and that really helped me. It really, really helped me know that like I don't need to, cannonball into the next step
Hmm.
as long as you take the next step.
Okay.
Okay. Um, did all of that. And then I would say the second lowest point I had, was shortly after college. So I surrounded myself with a bad person,
Okay.
and it really affected my state of mind and my state of mind for myself. It really brought me to that low point, and it was someone who was telling me, "No, you could never do this."
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. Then there was that. And I graduated college, and I decided, okay, I'm going to move back in with my parents, and I'm going to help out. I did that for 3 months,
Okay.
and I lost myself a little bit. Shout out to my dad. He's a great guy. It was not because of him. I just was not made to be a nurse. Uh, Love you, Ronnie Oliver, if you're going to watch this later. Um, Thank God he was cured of cancer that time.
Wow.
And after that, I was like, okay, I need to do something for me. And I don't know if this is good advice, but that was when I literally packed my bags and flew across the globe
Wow.
because I went on a trip shortly after I graduated to that place.
Okay.
And I just told myself that was the last place I felt the happiest.
Okay.
So if you need a little piece of reminder of where you were happiest or when you were happiest, maybe bring something in your life back um, to remind you that life is
Super.
great. Um, yeah, so I did that. And again, the low points have not stopped, people.
Yeah.
There are still a lot of things going on. It's not always going to be uphill, like I've said before. It really isn't. But yeah, I would say that again. I hope it answers everything.
It
I talk a lot.
does. You know what? And I love this because in the one way you're showing this your superwoman side, like you're doing these groundbreaking things. But then at the same time, you're saying, "Well, I'm superwoman over here, but I'm regular person over here." And I think you're letting people know that both can happen at the same
For
time.
sure.
Now I have a timer here, so in these next 5 minutes, I want you to say something. Don't just send you another link. We're gonna do something else. I have an imaginary question that you might have seen me ask other people in your research, which is pretend you have a friend with a 18-year-old child who's about to graduate high school. And your friend says, "Hey, my son Billy, great kid, they've done all the right things in high school and stuff, but they're not sure what they want to do next with their life or career or whatever." Would you take Billy or Sally out to lunch and just talk to them because you've done such great things with your life? Maybe you can influence them. So, what do you see yourself telling Billy or Sally in that lunch conversation?
I would probably say take that first step, wherever it may be, whether it be school or a job, something. Take that first step. If you have a passion for something, doesn't need to be this crazy passion like you want to be a movie star or you want to be the next top pop singer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the slightest passion for something, ride with it. Go with that and figure it out along the way. Things will come, people will come. Um, you're going to meet so many people along the way. If you hear a good piece of advice, take it. If you hear a bad piece of advice, you don't need to run away from it. Just maybe understand what's good and bad. Do your own self examination in your mind and see if that aligns with where you want to be in the next year. Don't say this is where I want to be in the next 5 years, 10
Okay.
years. You will not. You're not gonna be there probably. And if you are, fantastic. That's amazing. I'm so glad that you made it there. Um, small steps, small steps, small goals at first, and then you're gonna hit those big goals as you go.